Hello, DFS Catch Game Nerds, and welcome to a Friday night episode of the Big D Podcast. Before I bring in tonight's special guest, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you know what to expect. I'm working on a special YouTube video that will hopefully be up tomorrow morning, so please check that out. And also check out the Big D Podcast on Spotify and Apple. So if you're in the audio, please check it out there. So joining us back from Las Vegas for our weekly catch game segment is Charles Sears. Charles, is Vegas better than it actually than you thought it would be?
Uh, Not better because I lost on my trip. It was definitely a really good experience. So at the end of the day, like it was my first time in Vegas. So I was just like in awe and taking everything in, and like I may have seen maybe 5% of things to do there. Like I went out there to mostly play poker and try to make money. So I didn't really do a lot of the fun stuff. Want to save that for when the wife and I go out there. But all in all, like I at the end of the day, it was a fun time. I had fun even with it being a losing trip, because it was just what you see in the movies and television shows, and it's just so much to take in, and it's just like pretty much like it's exactly the same. Like the Luxor, this giant pyramid over there. You got the Aria, you got the Bellagio fountain show. It was definitely a lot to take in, and a lot of things to do there. So it was definitely more than what I thought, but I already knew that Vegas was a lot to handle.
Yeah, what if you could only play at one casino, what would it be?
None. One casino. I liked a handful of them. Aria, I liked it. Orleans, I liked that. But it's mostly because of the action. But then, like once I started realizing 1-3 across the board in Vegas is pretty soft. So the worst place is the Venetian. I think it's the Venetian. Their poker room closes at 3 for some reason.
Three
Besides
o'clock in
that,
the 3 o'clock in the afternoon or morning?
no, morning. I mean, they're not crazy, but it's just like I'm sitting there grinding. I'm like casino hopping. I go like from the Win to what's next to that? I guess the Venetian's right next to it, because I think I ended up walking to it. And then like I got there like 1:30, and they're talking about like how the poker room closes at 3. It's just like I never even heard of that before. I didn't even go to like all the others. I mostly stayed like close to the MGM because I was staying at Excalibur. So um the big ones were like Rio, obviously, for the series. uh I wasn't a fan of Rio. Like I don't know what it was. Have you been to the Rio?
No, no. I needed to make a Vegas trip one of these
I,
days. So
yeah, I
that's
thought the Rio was
definitely.
going to be a lot more dynamic or something like that, but it's just at the end of the day, like their actual casino floor just wasn't that impressive compared to other ones.
Maybe
Caesars is really nice. I didn't spend much time in there, but definitely a nice casino to go through. That's
you
for sure.
should
Aria.
you should have waited a week for the big fight happening tomorrow night.
Not, I mean, that's probably a good thing why I got out of there, because like my my original plans got canceled on me. So like me staying at Excalibur was like super last minute. Like it was like a 3 week ago thing, because I was originally going to go there with one of my friends with a camper. He got tied up at work and he couldn't take that time off. I was supposed to spend 10 days out there. Just grind cash, stay in a camper, super cheap in Vegas. Like the entire stay was going to be like $300. Like I was excited, but then once plans changed, I had to adapt. And luckily, I had I have surprisingly a lot of friends out there that play poker locally with me that were out there. So I was able to use their comps to get a cheap room at Excalibur.
Yeah, so now we switch back from poker to our regular discussion, and heading to week 5, what are you thinking for cash teams this weekend? Are you looking at Are you looking at maybe spending up at quarterback? You're looking at spending up here, or you're more looking at making a balanced roster?
To be honest with you, I lost last week. I lost by like a point, maybe 5 points at most in some of the double ups. Like it was just bad last 2 weeks. I need to find the good value players to play. So for this week, maybe stop paying down a quarterback and maybe start paying up. The cheap quarterback that I sort of like right now is Daniel Jones at 6,000 playing against Dallas defense. It seems like a good spot. The spread's only 7, maybe 7.5. I can't find it right now real quick, but there it is. Oh, it opened at 8 and now it's down to 7. So that's pretty interesting. But I do feel like there's going to be at least garbage time points where Daniel Jones can get like 19, 20 points. I mean, and realistically, his game log so far, like 22, 29, 16, 30. The only issue is this is probably the most expensive he's been this year. So not thrilled about it, but he's definitely one guy I'm targeting.
Two guys I'm targeting in the late afternoon slate. One of them is one in the early slate, one in the late afternoon slate. One guy in the early slate is Mac Jones, 5,300. I mean, the Patriots are a big favorite of the Texans. You and I could run routes for the Patriots against the Texans defense. I mean, I understand New England's probably missing 4/5 of its offensive line. If they were playing the Steelers, that would concern me. Doesn't against the Texans.
My worry about this game is if Texans don't put points up, it's just going to be a super run heavy game. Like the ball is going to go through the 3 to 4 running backs that they're going to use. It's a pretty low under at 40.
I know
at 40, 41 and a half, and it dropped down to 40.
Well, remember, with New England not having a healthy offensive line, they might not be able to run the ball. Remember what they did against, or couldn't do against the Bucs last week. If the Patriots can't run the ball, then Mac could be thrown, because you look at Mac Jones's game log the first 4 weeks, and he has thrown, let me see. He has thrown 39, 30, 51, and 40 times.
I mean, honestly, yeah, those are, I didn't realize that was pretty high. And then his lowest one was the one against the Jets where they only threw 30 times for. I didn't watch that game, but that seems kind of low. Did the New England won that game, right? Oh, so they just got up like real early and then just kept running the ball, more likely. All right. Yeah, the only thing I'm afraid of is like if Houston's a no contest, this could easily be that New York Jets game where he only scores 7, maybe 10 points, and he has only 30 attempts, which you would think 30 attempts would be a lot, but he only threw for 186 yards. I would want to go with Daniel Jones over him, or even Goff at the same price. Just so you can have someone, maybe not Goff. I take that back. I don't know who's throwing to besides Swift and Hawkinson. And Hawkinson's probably still injured.
Hawkinson might not play on Sunday. He is a true game time decision.
Yeah, I'll get away from Goff then. But I do like Daniel Jones. He's very capable of getting you the extra bonus points for throwing 300 plus yards. He's done it. I guess the first time he did it was against New Orleans. I would have guessed he would have got it against Washington. That was just a close game.
Week 2.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. That was actually his lowest game. But fantasy wise, it was up there though. 29. Oh, he had that rushing touchdown. That's right. He rushed for 2 touchdowns the first 2 weeks. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Daniel Jones probably a good spot. It could be a letdown spot, but who's the other quarterback that you want to target?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. Where's he at?
57.
Is he officially starting? Yep, we'll
Yep,
start
Jimmy
Sunday.
G's
Yeah.
out.
9 for 8, 2 touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns last game. Did he play the entire game?
Like a quarter and a half or so, maybe a half.
Okay. I mean, he got 2 touchdowns. That's nothing to shake a stick at, but against Arizona, didn't Arizona just like crush someone that was supposed to be in a good spot?
Oh, the Rams.
No, they definitely did a good job, the Rams. I think. Oh, no, Minnesota game was close too.
Tennessee.
Yeah, but that was week 1. Like, I just chalked that up to so much hype behind Tennessee having Julio Jones and AJ Brown, and it's just like, oh, they're going to be like the next, was it greatest show on turf? And it's just like, did you guys show up to play Tennessee? Yeah, I mean, Trey Lance could be a good. I don't know, like paying down a quarterback, it seems very scary nowadays. After doing it, 4 weeks, like it's paid off only half the time. Like, I'm looking for a little bit more stability in my quarterback position. Like, even at Daniel Jones, like that's still kind of scary. Is there anyone else that you like? Like maybe Joe Burrow, or like what about the top tier guys?
I think if I'm going top tier, because so many guys are playing in front, have already played or play in prime time, I'm thinking Sam Darnold still intrigues me. Good matchup. I know McCaffrey's doubtful, which means Sam Darnold will probably get another 2 rushing touchdowns this weekend.
That'd be sick if he does. Just like, all right, I guess I'm McCaffrey. Just get in there.
And
Man, he is priced up 66.
yeah,
Good for him.
66. And Jalen Hurts intrigues me because Hurts was my catching quarterback last week. Thank you for some garbage time points. But he's still $7,000, and I know Carolina's defense has played well other than last week against Dallas, but
I mean, he still got you 25 points against Dallas. Like, his worst week was San Francisco. That was, I think with Carolina's defense, he's lined up to be like very low owned. But I can't imagine it still being a bad spot because he's Jalen Hurts. Like, he seems to be very productive, like on his feet. He's able to get you rushing yards. He'll throw the ball, and who knows, maybe Devontae Smith might be, the main target. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So who you liking at running back?
I'm liking one guy in particular.
I already know his name.
Double deuces. Derrick Henry.
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that one. All right.
Let's see. How many yards is there?
Oh, he's playing Jacksonville. Yeah.
Yes. As a Jag fan, I can remember many of games Derrick Henry ramming the ball down on throws. It seems like Derrick Henry runs for 9 million yards every time he plays the Jags.
Oh, yeah. He's super chalk this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing against the Jags. Julio and AJ Brown are still looking very questionable. So
I think AJ Brown plays, but Julio's not playing, which means more Derrick Henry, please.
yeah, which is still like a still, like, I think even without that, like, it's still a slam dunk spot for him. What are you thinking about Perrine, or are you not going to make a comment about that until the official what do you call it, injury report comes out on Mixon?
I'm not playing that game with inactive running backs again. I played it with Travis Homer last night. That didn't really work out that well. Come on, PK, you confuse us with what running backs you play. I'm not doing that with Zach Taylor.
I mean, Zach Taylor's going to be the main one. I would have thought Perrine.
He's the head coach. He's the head coach.
Oh, yeah. I'm so silly. I don't even know head coaches' names. But I mean, Perrine could be a good thing. Like, they work the running back position in their game flow. Like, he may get 50 yards, a random touchdown. I mean, I guess it's super touchdown dependent, but a starting running back at 4K, like it's going to be hard to pass that up. And if he's going to be super chalky at the end of the day, like Mixon's out, then he is going to be the chalk. What about Eckler? How are you feeling about Eckler?
None. I think he can do better, especially in the cash game. I know Eckler's PPR, but Cleveland's a really good defense, especially in the front four.
No, they definitely are, but I mean, like you're paying Eckler for PPR at the end of the day. Like you're not really.
I don't think it's a great spot. I don't think it's a great spot for Herbert. I don't think it's a great spot, the best spot for Mike Williams. I think Keenan Allen's in an okay spot, but I think
That's because he's Keenan Allen now.
yeah, except when he plays the Raiders, but that's a story for another day.
Mm-hmm. I'm going through here.
To me, here's a guy to look out for. I know everybody's looking at Derrick Henry in the Tennessee Jacksonville game. The other running back for being James Robinson could be in for a good spot because he finally got all the work last week against Cincinnati. And he got, 18 carries, 78 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. And if Jacksonville gets to the goal line, James Robinson's probably the goal line back, which means he'll score. If James Robinson gets like 50, 60 yards, couple targets through the air, scores a touchdown, bingo.
I don't. I'm trying to think. I mean, at 6,000, James Robinson is very appealing. Man, he barely got 20 points with 2 touchdowns. Oh, because he only got one catch. Okay. Because like I was looking at his game against Arizona, like 88 yards, 1 touchdown, but he got 6 catches for another 46 yards. I mean, this could be a game where like they need to target him and they're playing from behind, and it's not like the Cincinnati game where it's just like they're going tick for tack, I guess. Was it close in the Cincinnati game?
Yeah, Jacksonville led a good chunk of that game. Cincinnati kicked the game-winning field goal.
So it was like back and forth, like a real battle and everything. Okay.
Well, Jacksonville led and Cincinnati came back in the second half.
That's right. That's right. Because I was worried that Cincy was going to kill my parlay. Let me see. So you're not commenting about Perrine, not yet, anyways.
I've got another guy for you. Do you realize that the Bucks are what, a 9-10 point favorite over the Dolphins? And you know who secretly is getting a bunch of rushing yards the last couple of weeks?
Fournette.
And he's 5,200.
Not against the Rams, he got 8. But he got 20 last week against New England. He had 20 attempts at 92 yards. And then 3 catches on 5 targets. That's pretty.
And if the Bucks get to the goal line, there's a half decent chance Fournette gets the ball.
And that's the thing right now is it looks like he's pretty chalky as well. It's funny. The 3 chalkiest guys are the 3 people that you picked: Henry, Robinson, and Fournette. Saquon's up there. Najee Harris is up there, but yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess Fournette is in a better spot because he's seeing more of a workload now. Like last week was a boost of confidence where people want to ride that, and it could be a letdown spot. But at 6K, like you sort of know what you're getting into.
Yes. Yeah. So now from running backs to wide receivers, who is your chalky wide receivers this week?
I definitely like Devontae Adams.
I do too.
He gets yeah. I wish I played him last week, but it is what it is. Well, I mean, I guess last week he didn't really do much. But the big thing is he gets so many targets in that offense. Like it's great. Him and Aaron Jones is just the concentration of it where like I I'm almost down to put Aaron Jones and Adams in a cash game lineup and just like stack it and just be like, okay, like what is it? A good like 50% of the touches are going to be between those two players. And the fact that both of them go off, like it's almost like you're just combining those two players this year. Adams is 82. We're going back to running back at 79. I mean, that's still kind of pricey, but I mean, like the ball only goes through those two guys for the most part. Like everyone else is like a dart for the most part. Like I definitely like Adams. He's getting the targets. He's doing his thing. DJ Moore, holy moly! I just saw his price for the first time. He at 7,500. Whoo! I mean, I guess he's worth it. 11 targets, 12 targets, 12 targets. And that's why I sort of like Daniel Jones. Just to backtrack a little bit, because like I feel like he can put up 20 plus points against Cowboys. There was someone else that I liked.
Speaking of Cowboys, how about both Cowboy receivers, CeeDee Lamb and Maury Cooper? I mean,
I just looked at CeeDee Lamb. He's at 6,200. That seems kind of cheap.
That seems kind of cheap for both of them. I mean, I know CeeDee didn't have a great week last time, but you know, the Giants don't defend the slot well, and CeeDee Lamb can be in the slot, and I think he could have a big game. And even with whatever rib injury, Amari Cooper is still more than capable of putting up 20 points. So I think both of them will find and catch.
Yeah, the big thing right here is I think the Giants Cowboys game is going to be a running back game where like maybe playing Elliott would be a good random shot. Because you know Cooper's injured, maybe he's on the snap count. Rib injuries are no joke. Like I never had one, but I just know like just breathing can be difficult if you take a deep, heavy breath. So I mean, if he still has a rib injury, like you know, CeeDee Lamb could probably be the slam dunk at what 6,200.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that seems like a good price for, especially if Cooper's on snap count or still going to carry that injury tag on him. There was one guy I like, Juju Smith-Schuster. He had 8 targets last week, but he's just not productive. I don't know if it's a Big Ben. It's got to be a Big Ben thing at this point. Like that O line or Big Ben. Like I really just want to put him in my cash lineup to like punt a wide receiver, but then I look at like AJ Green slightly above him with consistent 6 targets like every game, and he's the first game against Tennessee was the only one he didn't produce 10 or more points. What's another wide receiver you're liking? Are you liking Jamar Chase? Marvin Jones might be a thing.
Antonio Brown.
I saw he was kind of cheap too. He's like 50 something, right?
I mean, Antonio Brown seems awfully cheap. Seems awfully cheap.
5,200.
Somebody getting, let me see how many targets he got last. 11 targets. He only got 11 targets last week. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but he only got 13 points. And then week 2 against Atlanta, he only had 3 targets. I mean, realistically, the only game that he went off is the one against Dallas, where he had over 100 yards and a touchdown on 5 receptions out of 7. I don't know, like playing Tampa Bay wide receivers just seems like a crapshoot. Seems like more like I would rather play 3 max and just play one of each Tampa Bay receiver in each lineup and just hopefully someone holds up. What about the Cincinnati receivers? Like they seem to be in a decent spot because they got to be super underdogs, right? No, they're only 3.
I think Cincinnati could beat Green Bay. I don't know if T. Higgins plays. I think and remember, Jair Alexander's questionable too, which would open up another avenue for the Bengal offense.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay's top cornerback is out.
Okay. Any cheap wide receivers you're looking at? I mean, I'm trying to find one, and it's just like I don't know who I'm playing. Like
Curtis
I'm not going. I'm glad I stayed away from the Tennessee backup wide receivers. Like I just
Westbrook,
couldn't pull that trigger.
Ryan, and Josh Reynolds, or whoever those guys were.
Yeah, looks like KJ Osborne is slowing down on his productions.
I mean, if he's healthy, I really like Curtis Samuel. I mean, mid-price, but I don't know if he's healthy. I don't know if that. I don't know if he tweaked his
Whoa,
tweak or what.
Keenan Allen's super cheap this week.
Yeah, he is, but it's not. But it's a bad matchup, though.
I don't know if that really matters.
It did on Monday.
Oh wow, he only had 10 points on 7 catches. Jeez, no yards. He's only scored 1 touchdown this year so far. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Keenan Allen being at that price is very, very, very appealing. Who is this? Oh, Deontay Johnson. Man, these Steelers running backs or wide receivers, they are just struggling with Big Ben at center. Like, how long do you think it'll take before the Steelers bench Big Ben?
I don't know who the backup. I don't know how long it'll be.
It's Dwayne Haskins.
Oh gosh, Big Ben to Dwayne Haskins. Oh gosh.
I mean, it could be something. Ooh, what about this John Ross guy?
Oh gosh, you're not going to be chasing an 80-yard touchdown again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
Although I do think Kadarius Toney is interesting at what $4,000 because Slayton and Shepard are both out. But one of my buddies said the same thing about Ross, and I'm like, I think Tony's the wide receiver to have, and then John Ross will probably go 80 yards and will look like morons.
Yeah. John Ross. I remember one of my friends, he put him in his Million Maker lineup. He only plays one lineup, and it's just like, oh, there he is. John Ross touchdown. Yeah. And it's just like, come on. Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting week for me at cash games at tight end because Travis Kelce isn't on this list.
Oh, Travis Kelce.
Where am I going to go? And me, like, so just on the eye test, my eye likes Goddard, Schultz. You brought up Seals Jones at min price. I do like that idea. I can just punt this position since Kelsey's not on it. Just like, all right, I don't care about this. Treat it like a defense and just hopefully get 7 points from Seals Jones. But if I want to pay up, Goddard, Schultz are the two that I'm liking. Waller, you could pay up for him. I feel like all these questionable, like all these injury things around like Kittle, Hawkinson, Gronk, Logan Thomas. Oh, he went to IR too? Jeez. That was a bad week. This is a crazy week. I don't know who. Like, do you play a Washington backup tight end?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking with Seals Jones. But I mean, if you want to spend,
Oh, he okay. I'm sorry. I for some reason I was thinking he was still on the Cardinals. No, that makes a lot of sense then. Jared Cook against
I
Cleveland.
do think Jared Cook's interesting at 3,600. Another guy in that 3,000-ish range is Evan Ingram. He almost killed me last week in a cash game, but I think a 3,200 cheap tight end without a couple key wide receivers will be big because I think the Giants will be thrown.
I mean, he's gotten consistently 6 targets both games.
That's
you can't really. That I would imagine if you took like the elite 3, Waller, Kittle, and Kelce out of the tight end category, I would say 6 is probably almost at the top tier of targets if you take those 3 guys out of the equation. So I mean, 6 per game. I mean, and they're in a game where they're probably going to be behind. They're going to be throwing a lot. That could actually be a really sneaky good play right there if you're not willing to pay down to Seals Jones.
And if you want to use Daniel Jones, you've got a mini stack there.
I take back the Cook thing. I think Allen's probably going to shine in the Chargers game. Allen and Williams are probably going to go off because like their front seven's so good that it's just like they're just going to be able to like hopefully Herbert can pick them off if their O line holds up. Yeah, I mean that's really I like Goddard, Schultz, and then like you said, like Evan Ingram looks really appealing now at 3,200. That price tag is definitely nice. Is there anyone else that you want at tight end, or you liking? You thinking about?
Maybe Kittle, but I'm not sure what to think about Trey Lance. And plus, I'm not sure Kittle's 100% either.
Oh, he's right now he's doubtful. He did not
Yeah.
participate today. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that opens up Ross Strawley, but I don't think I'd play that game.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go ahead and move on to defenses. Are you paying up this week for defense?
I'm paying down.
Who are you paying down to?
Washington.
I thought the same thing. My first look list, like I plugged Washington in at 2,300 against New Orleans. Even though Washington hasn't really been playing that great this year on defense, this could be a Jameis Winston blow up game. And that sort of seems like, you get a couple of interception stuff and Washington actually shows up and stops Kamara. Washington can easily win this game. What's the line on this game? Do you know off top?
It's like going back and forth.
Ooh, Saints -2. Yeah, I'm loving Washington's defense right now. -2. It opened up at 1.5. Wow. That's very interesting. I like that play. Yeah. No, I'm definitely on board with you. If you pay up for defense, who would you target?
Let me see. If I wanted to pay up at defense, it's a real interesting question. Like some of these defenses are just absurdly priced. Like New England 4,900, Tampa 4,700, Denver 42, Tennessee. I think if I wanted to spend, maybe the Cowboys. Maybe the Cowboys at like 28.
No. Let's go 3K or above.
Oh gosh.
You got to pay up.
Oh, I must pay up for defense.
Yeah, just for the sake of the question. I have one and I hate it.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the Steelers.
Carolina.
Ooh, I like the Steelers. Steelers against Denver.
I think Bridgewater plays though. I think Bridgewater plays, and that makes a difference.
It will. But so if Bridgewater plays, he makes less mistakes than Drew Lock, which is fair. But let's look up Bridgewater real quick. I should know, but
Bridgewater should be ready to play this weekend.
Okay. Yeah, so unless like some outside source stops him. But it means it could be the Steelers defense. Their price kind of low. In my opinion, for the skill that you have on the Steelers defense. Denver's not really like a ball buster. I think Denver can win this game even with Drew Lock in there because it's essentially a matchup of defenses. And Drew Lock right now is probably on par with Big Ben as of right now. Like they're both
Who would have thought
not
that?
impressive.
Who would have thought that last
Yeah, right.
year?
But if I was to pay, I don't know, maybe Denver. You pay it 4,200 against Denver or against Pittsburgh. I guess the Packers. If Mixon's definitely out, Packers might be a good one.
I don't think I'd pay against Joe Burrow and company.
You say Joe Burrow and company, like the big thing is like, is he going to throw interceptions eventually? Yeah.
He hasn't thrown interceptions.
So he's due for one. Oh, expect that text message once he throws his first interception this game.
Yeah, he'll throw.
And watch it be a pick six, and then all the Green Bay.
No, it'll be a pick. No, it'll be a pick six. Somebody will return the 1 yard line, and Aaron Rodgers will throw a 1 yard touchdown to Devontae Adams.
There you go.
Then you get all the points.
All of them, just rolling in points like your Scrooge McDuck. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there anyone else that you could think about in cash, or any game that you're trying to target, like both sides of the ball?
I mean, be honest, I think the early Florida games are interesting with both running backs. I think the Tampa Fournette's another good one to use. Be honest, if you don't have at least one of the Cowboy receivers in your catch game lineup, I think you're making a big mistake. The question is which one?
Yeah, that's the big question. It's like, which one are you going to roster?
The one who goes for 180 and 2 scores.
Mm-hmm. How are you liking Deebo Samuel? Just to go back at wide receivers real quick.
I don't know. I mean, I think Deebo's fine.
His targets is crazy.
I mean, Deebo's making plays. I actually think Trey Lance. I can't believe I'm saying this because Trey Lance is starting his first NFL game. I think Trey Lance is actually an improvement for San Francisco's.
Whoa, hold on.
Wide receiver.
Check this out. What? So, last game against Seattle, Deebo had 13 targets.
Holy!
Now, when Trey Lance took over in the second half, he only threw to Samuel twice. So that means he had 11 in the first half of the game. That's
like Robert Woods last night.
Now I fell asleep for the game. I came back from Vegas and I was just like knocked out. How'd that one look?
It was good if you used Robert Woods. Not so good if you use Cooper Kupp or Russell Wilson. I think Russ might be out 6 to 8 weeks now.
I heard something it maybe sooner because he's able to like when he gets his finger worked on, because like the finger's like actually like stuck, like, you know, curled up. Once he has the surgery, he could play with a pin in his hand, but he will still have to wait for the initial like incision to heal up, which is like about 10 to 14 days. So that's something like still being out for 2 weeks, man. That's brutal for Seattle though.
Yeah, might be sleepless in Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Man, every time I look at the Cardinals, I look at the preseason to win in the division bet, and Cardinals were the only ones that are like favorite or super underdogs, I should say. All the rest of them were like plus 150, plus 180, plus 120, and then the Cardinals down there plus 600. And I was joking around with my friends about like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we just put like, you know, $100 on this? Because like all 4 of these teams could easily win the division. So it's just like, you know, let's bet on the one that gives us the best odds and just hope it wins. And it's just like, wish I would have took that bet.
Yeah, now you're thinking. Now I bet the Arizona's odds aren't quite as juicy now.
I haven't looked them up. I'm sure they're probably like almost even money at this point. I mean, the Rams are still giving them a chance, but I mean, they're definitely more in contention than they were at the beginning of the season, according to the odds.
Yeah, that might be a fun MVP battle between Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray.
Oh no, for sure. It definitely will be.
So
All right.
thanks for hopping on.
I appreciate you having me after my Vegas trip. I do apologize for being late, but
Hey,
I was
hey,
in Vegas.
hey, you know what? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There you go.